Hello, my name is Vince Romo. The show that you're about to see is about Barrio Lifestyle, about being raised in the barrio, being from the barrio, the do's, the don'ts, the what's in the where's, the who's in the hows. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Barrio Driven. So today I'm here with Jesse Sanchez, also known as Zombie. Jesse, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We are honored to have you. Before we get started, would you care to give the audience a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jesse Sanchez. I was born in Huntington Park, and mostly at the Bellflower Hospital.
Right on.
Uh, and my dad is named Manuel Sanchez. My mom was Enedina. My dad was from Sonora,
Wow.
Mexico. My mom's from Mexicali, and so uh, I love LA. My parents moved to the desert, Coachella Valley, when I was 8 years old,
Wow.
and so that's where most of my whole story started there.
Right on. Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for being a part of Barrio Driven.
Thank you so much, man.
You ready?
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this, man.
As you know it, we refer to this the hot seat. Not everyone is able to sit in the seat, but
Yeah.
each and every person that does it, we commend you guys.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, tell me about your childhood.
My childhood was that I can remember living in LA, man. Huntington Park. It was fun. I remember being the only child on Rugby Street, Florence and Rugby.
Wow.
There was a Goodyear warehouse right next to where I lived, and I was the only kid there. And so my dad, he worked as a longshoreman
All right on.
right there in Long Beach. He was older. My dad had me when he was in his late 50s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so people thought he was my grandpa, and later on in school.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I didn't care. But he did look old, man.
Well, that's
you
that's
know.
actually cool that you didn't really that didn't bother you that much
Nah,
because a lot of kids, I think, that might have bothered some, kids because how kids can be.
yeah,
Kids, we know that kids can be cruel,
yeah,
and tease you. Oh, that's your grandpa, yeah, and that's your dad. So, but
yeah.
that's cool that you were okay with that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, man, too. I was like, yeah, yeah, is that your grandpa? I said, nah, nah, he's my dad, but it's cool. I understand,
That's
no
right.
tiene pelo, you don't have hair. He was going bald, but my childhood was cool, in the beginning, living in Los,
How was your
and
relationship with your father?
it was great.
Really?
Yeah, I loved my dad. My dad was cool, man. He would come home. I recall just coming home and uh, doing piñatas for me for my birthday. He did everything possible, and I know why, and I'll tell you why later. But he did everything possible just to love me, man.
Oh, that's
You
right.
know, uh, my mom, uh, she was younger. Uh, she was a very good mom, man.
Wow.
The best mother. And I tell you, I had good parents.
I was gonna say that. You know what? On this show, I'm being very real with you. This is the first.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people I've interviewed. This is the first guest that we've had on, Jesse, that actually said that they had two good parents. It's either the mom and mom's bad, the dad's
Dysfunctional.
bad, or yeah, there's something going on because
Yeah.
you don't get on Barrio Driven by you know
Yeah, by
by just
acting
being
like that. Yeah.
being having the best childhood. Wow. Best memory with your parents. I usually say with your mother or father, but you were blessed to have you know two good parents.
Yes. Yes.
So I pretty much was blessed the same way. For those that don't know my story, but it was my stepfather that abused me, how me to become the
Yeah.
man that I ended up being.
Right. Right.
Which wasn't a good one. But
Right.
so that was for even though you don't know that, but that's kind of what happened with me. But I kind of in the same boat. I had a good mom and a good dad. But continue.
Wow,
The
that's
best
a trip.
best best memory with your parents, man.
Oh, as a child, one of the best memories with my parents is hmm, in L.A. It would it would be Chuck E. Cheese, man.
Chuck E. Cheese.
I always wanted to go to Chuck E. Cheese. To me, it was like going to Disneyland. You know,
That's right. That's right.
the thing is that
Go
we,
see the big rata.
yes, yes. Well, I wanted to go play video games. You know, that
That's
was my
right.
thing, and you know that was one of the as a child in that time where I was living in L.A. with my mom and dad, and
Yeah.
we lived there on Rugby Street in Florence, and really didn't know anything about gangs at that time, but
Yeah.
you know. That was one of the times where my dad, come on, vamos para Chuck E. Cheese. Ah, cabrón, you know, it's like, I always want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, you know, and the way he would talk to me, he had a rough voice. He was very talented once, you know. My dad was what do you call it, a radio announcer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Fresno. And I have a picture of him with the beautiful mic. One of the old school pictures.
Yeah.
I'll shoot it to you. And man, he
Yeah.
looked handsome, man. I mean,
Wow.
top notch guy. You know, he was married
Wow.
before.
That's where you get your good looks from.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
think so.
There.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what
I
I'm
know so.
saying?
Yeah, that's what my
That's how you
wife
got your
says.
wife.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she goes, yeah. It only comes from your pops, man. Yeah, he had a first marriage. I didn't know my brothers and sisters at that time, you know, until I got older. But his first marriage, and then of course my mom was the
Yeah.
second. But my mom will always walk me down. What I love about my mom is she would take me down Rugby Street and go down to Pacific
Yeah.
and take me to this big store, man. I'm trying to remember how it was called, but she would take me in there. We sit down, and the best memory of my mom was have a slice of pizza, pepperoni pizza, man, which
That's
ended
right.
up being my favorite food, man. You know.
Wow.
And so I was like, yeah, man, you know. And my first language was Spanish because they spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
L.A., you know. I called them, where were you born? L.A. I mean, Mexico. And they said, where part? Los Angeles. You know, and people were laughing. Yeah, yeah.
Part
Yeah,
of
it's kind
Mexico, Los
of
Angeles.
L.A.
That's
Yeah,
another first.
there's
I never heard
another
that
one.
before.
Yeah,
What
so
part of
people,
Mexico in Los
people laugh
Angeles?
because it was my Spanish, was my first language.
That's funny.
But my mom would take me down. So when my dad would go to work, my mom would take me to go eat. And my brother wasn't born yet, you know, and I don't have too much memories of my brother as a little kid.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I remember him, but I don't know why. You know,
They're
I
just
do.
not there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not there. Not too much.
Let me ask you, Jesse, you know, growing up, you're so far having a life that many kids would have loved to have.
Yeah.
What went wrong and at what age?
Okay, so you know, it's a trip that I can remember these things.
Yeah.
As a small kid, you know, I can remember my dad's compadre. My dad was what compadre is for those that don't know. You know,
Yeah, of course.
there's
Yeah, of
Catholics.
course.
You know, and they when you're a Catholic, they baptize your little kid
Hmm.
and some friend's little kid, so you become a godfather to somebody. You know,
Yeah.
and so my dad's compadre um, came down from Palm Springs. My dad was having heart problems.
Oh, wow.
And so the doctor told him, you need to go to a place. My dad was already in that age of retirement,
Yeah.
but not the best money that was gonna come. But
Yeah.
he had to retire. His heart was going out. You know,
Yeah.
the air in LA wasn't doing him any good. So his compadre came by and said, Mira, come down over here to Cathedral City. Move over here, man. You know, you can rent out over here, compadre. And I can remember that as a little kid seeing them talking.
Yeah.
And they were talking about discussing leaving Los Angeles. I didn't want to leave. You know, I loved LA.
Yeah.
I'm in heart, I'm LA.
Yeah.
At heart, I'm all LA. You know.
Yeah.
And but that's where it started, man. You know.
So you move here
That's
at
where it started. Yeah,
8 years old, right?
Yeah, that's where it
8 years.
started. My dad picked up, and even before we left, I was picking up a little bad habits. Like
Yeah.
I was learning a little bit of stealing here, a little.
Yeah.
But it was because of the kids, you know, around the hood.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like hood, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was learning these little habits. I remember this stealing quarters from my dad. Little things.
Little things.
Didn't
Yeah.
mean much at that time, but it became bigger later, you know.
Well,
Because I
exactly.
didn't get corrected about it, you know.
You know, growing up as kids, nobody teaches us to steal. Nobody teaches
Yeah.
us to do wrong. It's in our nature.
It's our nature.
And that's one, you know, from that actually sin came down from Adam,
Yeah, I
you
don't.
know, and so that's we have that sin nature. You know, nobody tells us, hey, to do wrong. We just automatically do it, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. That,
So you move here at 8 years old, and what
it's toward back, man.
really, so what happens when you arrive over here? You leave LA, you're in a whole different environment. You're in 120-degree weather,
Yeah, yeah. It's
you know.
hot as heck.
Yeah, hot as heck, believe
Yeah,
me, I know.
yeah. The closest, almost close to hell. I call it.
Yeah, dear Lord, tell me about it. You know, what happened out here?
That's where my whole life changed. Uh, my parents, when we moved to Palm Springs, Cathedral City, actually, which is really close to Palm Springs, just we ended up moving in behind a house
Okay.
in a shack, man. It was one bedroom, uh, one little bathroom, one little kitchen, and that's it, man. It was a whole different environment and a whole different life from when I was in LA. At least in LA, we
Yeah,
had two bedrooms.
yeah.
I had yards I can run in. Avocado tree I can climb in. Oh, here, man, palm trees. I'm like, let's go climb on that. My dad would tell me, come on, get some avocado. I would go up there, and as a little kid,
Yeah,
you know, had a parking space, a garage.
yeah.
Now going over here, we had this one was the
Nothing.
size of
Yeah.
this office of
This,
mine,
yeah,
man.
this office,
You
yeah.
know, and we grew up dirt poor. We went down. My dad was just, my mom started working at McDonald's to make ends
Wow.
meet,
Yeah,
which is cool, and working at
yeah,
houses. Uh, my dad was retired, so when he was only getting like $800 a month, that
yeah,
I remember,
yeah,
and a little bit of check from what the government would give my mom and dad for us,
yeah,
and we lived in a shack. We had nothing but rats. Well, not rats, mice,
yeah,
um, roaches. I hated it, man, and that's how I started. Like, even when I walk out of the house, because it was in the back, extension of the backyard,
yeah,
Vince, I walk out, man, and the sewer thing is there, like
yeah.
where the sewer will go in there. It was covered, but you can smell it.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like it, man. You know,
Yeah.
something inside of me started changing. The environment, and I'll tell people the environment changes a person,
Of course. Yes.
and so it started changing me as a child. Um,
Changing you how?
it was very different, man. I didn't. I, I would wake up, uh, and I started when I would go up in the front, to the street. I see other kids lived in their houses, but I didn't have them. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, what the heck's going on here? ¿Qué pasa? What happened?
Yeah.
You know, uh, cars were breaking down. You know, and then that's when I started getting like 8, starting going up to 9 and 10 years old, going to school.
Yeah.
And my dad would drop me off at school, and he like I said, his health was kind of declining, and he looked older. And hey, it's your grandpa, and I would, for whatever, I wouldn't take any offense to it. I
Offense
said,
to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's my grandpa. And people were like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's my grandpa. And I'll talk to the guys, and there I started learning more of the lingo of the streets, because guys in school, they were from different gangs. In middle school, when I started hitting, well, I hit elementary, and actually in elementary I was already throwing down. Yeah, I can remember my I would call them cousins, because that's my dad baptized them, so we were that close. We all grew up together, the kids, and
Yeah.
they were named Ruben and Hobby. They passed away already. They were young, but they would tell me, "Hey Jesse, this guy beat me up." Who? And I don't know how, Vince, but inside I felt like I had to protect people,
Yeah.
and it was just in me, man. And I remember this. It was that kid, so I went over there, and bah, bah,
Start
bah,
the
bah.
docile thing.
Well, I mean, it was elementary,
Yeah.
and that's where everything, like, I believe now that I'm older and I start thinking about it. I've never talked to a psychiatrist or anything. Maybe I should one day. But it's like I started thinking, I started carrying this resentment, this hate for where I lived.
Wow.
I didn't like it, and it
Yeah.
started getting worse, and got getting worse. Uh, my mom and dad started going to church with compadre, you know, his name
Yeah.
was Ernesto. He was a good guy. He
Yeah.
used to play the bass at the church, and I would go to church with them. And at first it was cool, but like I said, I go back home and I started seeing things that I shouldn't be seeing as a kid. You know, people fighting outside. You know,
Yeah.
getting high with. You remember those eight ball drinks?
Mm-hmm.
You know the
Yeah.
big
April. Yeah.
yeah, they're just drinking that. Next door neighbors partying all the time, and so I can remember this. As I'm
Yeah.
telling you, as a kid, I'm remembering this. So as I started going with my friends over there, looking and seeing girls dancing and seeing things that a kid should have never seen at my age,
Yeah.
and hang around. Then I started hanging around with certain kids and learning. I broke into my first house, you know, because being poor now, I was like, well,
You wanted
I
things.
want some.
Yeah.
But I wasn't much of a thief like that. But that was one of my, I did break into a house with a friend at first, and I started getting this little habit of taking things from people,
Yeah.
not in force, but and sneaky. They didn't even know it was gone, man. I was like, and yeah, resentment carried it. I just started getting this hate inside of me, man.
And how old were you when you got into your barrio? Talk to me about that.
Well, when I was growing up as 10 years old, I was being influenced by my environment,
Yeah.
uh, seeing stuff, man, like sexual stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Uh,
Like, what did you see?
I seen kids, kids playing with each other, man.
Oh
I
man.
seen that, man. You know,
Where did you see
I
that at?
never talked about this, you know.
No.
Nah, in my environment where I lived at, in my
Really?
backyard, yeah, there would be kids coming out. Now there's times saying they would be messing with each other, man, and then Jack it was like, what the heck is this? Never participated in anything like that, but
Yeah.
I seen that,
But
eh?
you were seeing
You
that.
know what I mean? And it bothered me.
Well,
Uh,
yeah.
I remember this one thing. I'll tell you this story. Yeah, I get into my hood right now. One time I seen there was a pastor that used to give a Bible study in the front of that house.
Yeah.
And the pastor, he ended up falling and got drunk, man. His son was my best friend. His name was Ivan. And he came up to me and goes, Jesse. And I go, yeah, we were like 10, 11 years old. He goes, my dad, he's lost. And I didn't understand what he mean. Because he drinks. And so my mom's looking for him, and I thought he was his pastor. And I didn't know. I was,
Yeah.
yeah, but can you help me find him? So yeah, I'll help you find him, eh? So there was two bars at that time. There's the Outpost Bar, and those that see this from the valley, we're putting Coachella Valley in the map today,
That's
brother.
right.
The Outpost Bar, and then it was down a certain street called La Paloma, and there was another down the street in Cthulhu City, Cthulhu Canyon back in that time. And as little kids, we ran in there. I go, okay, I'm gonna run. We run in there, and if we see him, we'll call him out. We ran in there, and hey, get out of here, man! And we'll run out. Did you see him? Nah. So we went to the other bar. We didn't find him. A couple of days later, I hear this knock on the screen on the back of my house,
Yeah.
And my dad said, "Mijo, a ver quién es." Okay. I opened the screen, door screen, and it was the pastor, and he had peace, man. He peed on himself, man.
Wow.
Urinated all over.
Yeah.
And I told him, Pa, es el pastor. It's the pastor. He looks at me, he goes, okay, ¿qué pasa? He goes, está miado, pa. This is where I learned restoration. But this is where I learned my dad was like a good man.
Yeah.
Bring him in. Oh. And we only had 2 beds, man.
Yeah.
He goes, put him in your bed.
Alright. Alright.
Dale, papito,
Que
man.
no.
What's up, man? We would sleep on the floor, and then there was 2 beds. And so, anyways, I told him, entrale, and he would say, Jesse, yo te quiero como un hijo. And when someone's drunk, they talk like that.
Yeah.
I love you, man. And so, sí, pastor, vente. I brought him in, put him in the pad. My dad says, make him some soup, Campbell soup. We had.
Yeah.
That we would go to the Catholic church and get that fake milk and
Yeah.
some Campbell soups, fake cheese, and all that. And And I seen these things, man.
Yeah.
He told me, let him rest, and when he's done resting, go call his wife. And I did. I went over to call his wife,
Yeah.
picked him up. So seeing these things, like my mind was growing like this, growing.
Yeah.
As a kid, I was growing up.
Yeah.
Seeing these things around me, man. Uh, a lot of things affected me when I used to. My dad would tell me, "Hey, we need food, man," and he'll take me behind Lucky's, and I'll go in the garbage can to get food.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I, and then we'll get it. What's in there? Back then, they'll throw all these things, and so we'll take that.
So you guys were that
We're poor.
poor that you guys
Yeah,
had to go to the garbage can
yeah.
to get food.
Yeah, my wife knew me
Wow.
since I was around that 10 years old. She knew me
Wow.
since then, so she used to come. Her brother was my best friend, so he would come and see all this. I
Wow.
didn't let too many people in my circle because I was embarrassed.
Well, yeah, that must have put, I mean, you know, growing up as as a kid, I can only imagine that that probably put anger in your heart.
I was mad.
You know,
Oh
you
man.
weren't mad at
I,
your father or your parents for
I would
like you
tell him.
didn't blame them?
Yeah, I would tell him if Vito was. You want to? Yeah, I did because there's where the gang thing started coming in. Started learning about the gangs.
Yeah.
At first one person starts as a wannabe, of course.
Yeah.
So I was that. Wannabe one. Wasn't from a hood yet, uh, but I seen guys from the hood
Yeah.
and started wearing the blue rag. Uh, only had one pair of Levi's. So
Wow.
to me that was a big deal. I
Yeah.
had the fake Cortezes from the swap meet.
Yeah.
You know, where the Nikes weren't embroidered; they were on top.
Yeah.
And so I was going into middle school already.
Yeah.
I was in continuation. SSI is
Yeah.
like an in-house suspension thing for
Yeah.
schools, and always, man, just didn't have a break. I was just fighting,
Wow.
mad, just everything. And I know that this is where when I would go to church and I would see my dad give money to my
The
mom and dad.
church. Yeah.
Yeah, he wouldn't give much, a couple of dollars here.
Yeah.
And I would look at that and I said, doesn't he know that we need that? I thought in my heart, I'm like, this guy, doesn't he know we need that?
Yeah.
They grew a resentment because later on, one time my mom, we went at it.
Yeah.
I was about going 12, 13 years old there. That's when I was getting into my mind was going into this gang mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my mom, I said, Mom, ¿por qué le das dinero a Dios? Why you give money to God, man?
Yeah.
Because He'll bless us. I said, well, I don't see anything. Estamos una casa pobre. We live in a house that's poor, man.
Yeah.
We have mice, we have roaches, and I was, you know what, Mom? F you, man, and F God. How's that?
Yeah.
It just came out of me, man.
Wow.
And she goes, Mijo. I said, nah, forget you, man. You
Oh,
guys
so
I was
you told
mad.
your mom this.
Yeah.
Wow.
F you and F God.
Wow.
And
What was her
she
yeah.
just, Mijo, no digas esas cosas. And I remember slamming the screen door, left, went to school, and I got in one of them, and I went into a G right and it's ditched.
Yeah.
Went up to Highway 704 with some of the, I'll say friends of mine, we went up there. It was in a truck. We were coming down Highway 74. I didn't know the guy was drunk, I was in the back of the truck. I remember back in the days, you could
Yeah,
sit
you
down
sit
and
in the
truck. Hey,
back. Yeah.
what's up? So I was in a tailgate, chilling, talking to the
Yeah.
guys, little homies, and we were little kids coming down. Boom! This guy crashed into a big old boulder embankment. Went up. I flew out. I flew out of the truck. And it was me and some other guys. Flew out of the truck. And I hit the straight. If someone goes to Highway 74, man, it's an ugly place. It's
Yeah.
just two roads. It's up in the mountains. It's scary. I don't even like going there now. Because when I flew out, I landed straight on the street.
Wow.
My leg went all the way up, jacked up my back, broke
Wow.
my thumb, my toe, my chin, my knees. I was all messed up. It was so high up that the helicopter couldn't come get us. And I blacked out, Vince. And I remember blacking out. And you know what I heard? why did you disrespect your mom? Why did I cuss out God and cuss out my mom? And it was not so much God, it was my mom. Because now that I know a certain some things
Yeah.
that you gotta respect your jefita,
Yeah,
your
of
mom,
course.
and you'll live a long life. I know that's what the good book says, right?
Yeah.
Well, my life was being cut short for all this disrespect that was taking place.
Yeah.
And I thought about that. I remember, long story short, going to the hospital. I was all messed up. My wife now, but my girlfriend then. When she was my girlfriend then, we were little kids, but her mom
Yeah.
used to come pick me up for church because her brother was my best friend. Hey,
Yeah.
you ready to go to church? And he came, and I was like,
All
lay
jacked up,
off.
all in a cast all over
And he
the
went
place.
out there. He said, "Hey, ma, he can't go to church. Why? He got in a car accident." I still feel the pain in my back because of that. But it was getting hardcore. Things were getting a little intense. Where I was being rebellion.
Yeah.
The pastor of that church, we're friends now, from the pulpit, because I was always fighting at the church, man.
Yeah.
He says, "¿Sabes qué, Jesse? Not even God can change you," and that stayed with me for a long time, Vince.
Yeah.
In front of everybody,
Yeah.
not even God can change you, man.
Well,
Now you think about it, telling a kid that.
yeah. Which we all know that's a lie. We all know that God could change
Yeah,
anybody. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
But see, that part right there messed me up.
Yeah.
Where like, well, if God don't want me, you don't want me, forget it. I know who does.
Yeah. So you went to the
I
streets.
went to the streets. So I started growing into it. My dad, he ended up applying for low income housing.
What was the name of your barrio?
And my barrio's name is Brownstown Locals.
Brownstown locals.
Yeah,
Are they still an active barrio?
yeah,
They're
yeah.
still out here?
So I was about 14 when we started Electrica. It's the
So
no,
you guys are
yeah,
you're one of the that
the
started
founders,
their
yeah,
barrio.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Very rare to find that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The founder of a gang, or
Yeah.
you know, and they can do the homework on me. It's just true, man.
Yeah.
It's straight out true. I'm all over the place, eh?
Wow.
Um, and us and a few homies that are not around anymore.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, I'm alive.
Amen.
But we started that when I was about 14 years old.
14 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the city of Desert Hot Springs, they call it DHS, which people look at it, that's the Compton of this valley, man, of the Coachella Valley.
Really?
Dirty, messed up, drugs,
Wow.
methamphetamines. Now it's fentanyl.
Did you ever get mixed up in any kind of, any kind of drug abuse, any kind of paraphernalia? Were you not really like that, or that wasn't really so much my thing. But
That's cool.
were you, you know,
You know, so, I was not a drug addict.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good,
but
man.
I love that weed, boy. So that's why I got that zombie, my nickname.
Zombie. Oh wow, that's how you got the
Yeah,
nickname Zombie.
yeah,
Wow, what a trip. It fits.
it
There
fits,
you go.
man.
It'll fit. Yeah, if you're smoking all
Smoky
day and
anda,
you
no
know what I'm
mames.
saying? Yeah, yeah, most definitely you'd be
Yeah,
a zombie.
yeah.
Um, so you're a youngster, you started up your barrio. How many of you were you guys when you first started?
4 of us.
There was four.
Yeah.
Wow.
With Furman, James, um, homie that we call Lowrider, and myself.
Wow. Four of you guys.
Yeah. And we started, and there's a lot of gangs in this Coachella Valley, top
Yeah.
notch gangs,
Yeah.
tough gangs, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We call them, elites.
Yeah.
From Coachella, Indio, all the way down to certain places. The
Yeah.
guys have been around for generations.
Yeah.
We're these four little guys that like in a city that never had a gang.
Also in the city where they had no
They
barrios
never
there.
had a barrio.
So you guys were the first
We're the
ones.
first ones.
Wow.
We're the first barrio still there. It's not as crazy as it was in the 90s and the late 80s, but because of everything changes.
How many members would you say that you guys grew to?
We had about good, I would say in the 80s, in the late 90s when I was around, man, we had about good 200, man.
Serio.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a strong barrio.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's a
I say
strong
it
barrio.
was,
Yeah.
a good 200 vatos, because I had this mentality uh, where it was almost like the homies from 18, where
Yeah.
they recruited certain guys from uh, Salvadorians,
Yeah.
Mexicanos from. Well, I had that kind of mentality. I had the Chicanos, but I also started recruiting other vatos that no one wanted. You
And
know
you
what I
guys
mean?
wanted them.
And I wanted them, so that's why we're called Brownstown. In my mind, I thought we can unite the race, la raza. That if you recall that time, there was that black and Mexicans
Yeah.
against each other, and so I was like, well, we got to take care of ourselves, you know.
So was your barrio like like you had blacks and browns
No,
in the
just
barrio?
browns.
Just brown.
Yeah,
Okay.
just browns.
Okay.
Whites that grew up to be like
Yeah.
Mexicanos,
Yeah.
and they I would go in schools
Yeah.
and recruit vatos.
And you know what's crazy is like, I've been blessed to be able to go to different places, different states. And in Cali, for those that are watching this, because we get viewers all over the
Yeah,
world. I get people watching from Brazil, all over. And I even have a viewer from China, and you know what? We're very segregated over here. It's like the blacks are with the blacks, the browns are with the
yeah,
browns. And I would go to different other states and I was like, everyone's hanging out with each other.
right.
But over here, as you said, we're very segregated,
Yeah,
which is a shame because, we're all God's children,
we are. Yeah,
but that just kind of
but
unfortunately how it
yeah,
is over here,
that's the way California is.
Yeah, it
That's the
is.
law of the
Yeah,
hood there in
yeah,
Cali.
the law of the hood.
Yeah.
I was gonna tell you, so you're gangbanging, there's a few of you guys grow. Tell me mm, the most craziest night that you experienced where you were gangbanging, man.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, man, is the time I got caught.
Tell me.
I was 15.
Okay.
I was in my mom's house, and we were rivals against the Crips
Yeah.
in Palm Springs, North Palm Springs at that time.
Yeah.
They're cool now, but
Yeah.
times have changed. But it was in that time it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah.
And so we kicked out the Bloods, but the Crips were coming in. We just had beef all over schools and stuff, and Brownstown locals. We had to put a name up because we were so new.
Yeah.
We had to do things
Yeah.
that other gangs already done, gone to prison. We've never been to prison.
Yeah.
We were kids,
Yeah.
but we were doing prison
Of
stuff.
course. Yeah.
You don't have to go to prison and be crazy.
No, of course
You know what I
not.
mean?
There's
I got schooled by a homie from Longo.
Oh yeah, there's a
So
lot of
yeah,
homeboys
yeah, yeah,
that have never been busted, that have done some
yeah,
some dirt,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. They say
So exactly.
the smartest ones are the ones that stay out.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you know what I
Go.
mean? But
Yeah.
that's what I heard. That's what they told me.
Yeah.
This is why I never put on tattoos, because they told me don't be an attraction.
Yeah.
Homie, if you're gonna
Be
lead a
smart.
gang, homes, then you
Yeah.
gotta be, don't put it on, because it's
Yeah.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen. He had this tattoo. It's all right that people, but
Yeah.
they told me not to.
Yeah.
I
I
had,
should have took that advice.
yeah,
But go
well,
ahead. Yeah.
I wanted to, because you want to put out that name,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they told me don't. That was the times where things were like changing a little bit.
Yeah.
The times to stop the drive-bys and all that.
Yeah.
But anyways, that I remember that I was in my mom's house. I used to carry this big old knife.
Yeah.
I used to like knives more than guns. I shot, but I like knives.
Yeah.
And my homeboy would tell me, "Hey, Crocodile Dundee, man, when are you gonna, te vato con los fileros,
Crocodile
man? You know what I
Dundee.
mean? Crocodile Dundee."
Yeah.
And I said, and my mom's like, "¿Dónde vas con eso?
Yeah.
Where you going?" Man, I'm in the hood. Is if you pass, there's Vaughn's. Once you pass that area, it's bad news for us.
Yeah.
We were trying to win the whole place, but it just got tough with us because we were smaller.
Yeah.
And I remember taking which was my brother-in-law now. They used to call him Yogi. And he go, "Hey, we gotta go." His mom was taking us to McDonald's. My girlfriend Allie, we were going out there, man. And I had my filero. I said, "Ma, I'm going somewhere where there's gonna be there might be somebody.
Yeah.
You're gonna use it. Well, that's what it's for."
Yeah.
And so I remember going to the McDonald's, man, and my wife's cousins were there, little kids at that time. And my homeboy and I were eating, and I look up, and I see the enemies.
Yeah.
And I go, look at that, homie. Look at those homies over there. Goes, who is it? So and so, man. Orale. Come on, let's go get him. Your mom's ordering,
Yeah. She's doing her thing. She's
doing her
occupied.
thing.
Yeah.
Hannah's right there, doing her thing. And then
Yeah.
she's looking, though. She always kept an eye on me, like, because,
Yeah.
that was a crazy one. Get up. We creep up on them right there in front of the Vaughn's parking lot. Noticing that this black brother was talking to this other Mexican guy that was a dope dealer at that time.
Yeah.
And my homeboy went up by him and palo, big bam, click, hit him
Yeah.
in the head. And he went whoop, and then
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, and I grabbed a rock and threw it at the guy. And then all of a sudden things got heated up. And the guy took out a knife. I turned around and there was another guy that was with him.
Yeah.
And he took out a filero. I took out mine quick, grabbed him, stuck him right in the stomach, man.
Yeah.
Fast. Shh. Turned around, man, and I said, and this heat came on me, man. I was mad.
Yeah.
Like I was in heat, like, turned around and said, what's up, homie? You're next. This guy had a little knife and he threw it on the floor. Yeah, because I had a big one.
But you had a big one.
Yeah, I had a big one, and I was ready, man.
Wow.
Come on, bro. What's up?
Yeah.
And he said, nah. And he ran, took off running. And so everyone's screaming in front of the bright day, man.
Yeah.
Screaming. And I turned around, and this guy that I stabbed was gone. Got stabbed right here, straight on the stomach.
Wow.
I turned around, he was gone. Later on, I heard he was trying to hold his stuff in. He ran.
Yeah.
And now it's on. All of a sudden, this thing went so fast. I've been a gang for went so fast.
Yeah.
Man. I seen a car pull up with another brother, man. Like, hey, man, here they come. Got out of the car and chasing my homeboy, And I'm like, oh man, And he hits my homeboy in the head with the flashlight. And then I seen the other enemy, and I'm running after him, and I try to stick up in the back. He moves.
Yeah.
Jump in the car. And I'm like, dang, And we used to wear, well, we wear for Brownstown, Browns hats.
Yeah.
Browns, Cleveland Browns. And I remember losing my hat. And my wife's like, hey, we gotta go. My girlfriend back then, she tells me, we gotta go, because Jesse just stabbed this guy, and just the infirmary guy, and she's out there,
Yeah.
For McDonald's, it's over, messed everything up, man.
Yeah.
The little cousin seen what I did and traumatized their mind. I didn't know till later, We jumped in my mother, well, she's my mother-in-law now.
Yeah.
I say my mother-in-law's car, and she's driving us back to the hood where we live. I get the knife, man, and I see behind me, I see this undercover. They're already on us, like quick, because they already knew, the Brownstown, and there was no other at that time Mexican rival gang for that in the city. Not now. There is now one later on in the future, but back then it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And it was wild, man. Check this out, man. I get in the house. Start cleaning the knife, throw all the blood off.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing this just drip off. My little cousin there is watching it. And I told him, close the door, man. He closes the door and he's seeing it. And I know the undercover was behind us. And I told her, hey, you know what? They're on us, man. And they know it's us because I lost my hat.
Yeah.
Go outside. My brother-in-law, he's bleeding. He got hit in the head with his
with the flashlight.
With the flashlight, like the ones the cops carry.
Yeah.
And so we get in the car. He's going. We got to take him to the hospital. I put the knife under the passenger seat. And then as we're going, we see cops behind us. Stop us right there on Pond Drive.
Yeah.
Going towards Desert Regional Hospital. I tell you, man, my girlfriend, she's smart. She could have been a lawyer. The cops stop us, and they go, hey, get out of the car. They get me out of the car. They put me in the back seat of the cop car. We know someone got stabbed, and there was a victim. And she goes, "Wait a minute, officer." And you remember, she's only like 15. She was about the same age, 15.
Yeah.
She goes, "Officer, the victim is my brother because he had a cut."
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Played the part,
Yeah.
you know. They take me out of the cop car, put me back in,
Wow.
and they escort us down to the Desert Regionals for my brother-in-law to get
Wow.
stitches. But watch, when we walk into the Desert Regional, this is how evil my heart was. My brother-in-law goes in there. He's getting his head
Yeah.
stitched up, and the guy I stabbed is in a gurney passing right by me, man, with the oxygen thing in his.
Yeah.
And I'm with my girl, man, and he's passing by real quick. It was like fast, like emergency doors opening up. Psh, he's passing
Yeah.
by. He sees me. He sees me with his eyes like this, and I go, "I'm gonna kill you, man.
Yeah.
Kill you." I can only imagine what the guy was going through,
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy followed me. He's gonna take me out.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It wasn't planned that way. It was just,
Yeah.
I guess it was the moment, and I told him, "I'm gonna kill you, man." And his eyes opened up, and she's all like, "Stop it already, Jesse. Stop.
Yeah.
You've done enough. Forget this, man." I'm mad, and I'm walking down to where people wait for those that get hurt.
Yeah.
The waiting,
The waiting room.
and their parents are there, and some of the homeboys, my rival gangs are there, and crazy as skinny guy I was, I went up to him and I seen them, and I said, "Oh, you guys are all here for this dude," saying, "You guys ain't gonna do nothing about it, man."
Wow.
And they just looked at me, and she just pulled me, and she just said, "Stop."
Yeah. Wow.
And that day, everything changed for me. I went on the run. Eventually,
Yeah.
they were looking for me.
Yeah. Wow. How long were you on the run for?
Well, when I took off that day, it wasn't that long because
You just wanted to get out. You needed to
yeah,
get out for a while.
just get out.
Yeah.
And I knew they were looking for me.
So high low. You
They
stayed low.
ratted
Right?
on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I thought there was some kind of, "Hey, we're gonna take it in the streets. It's my life, your life." But they told me, they said it was Jesse Sanchez
Yeah.
from Brownstown that stabbed this guy. So I thought these guys were like, the street honor, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
So they were looking for me. There was this
And how did, well, let me ask you this. How did that make you feel? Like, um, because the crocodile Dundee knife, that was a pretty big one.
yeah, it was. It was
And,
a kitchen knife.
yeah, and it's for you to stab someone that could have killed him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That could have killed him. Um, did you have, well, I mean, I think I pretty much got my answer. You didn't have any kind of remorse, huh? You just
No,
were like, no, you didn't care, huh?
no, because I'm being truthful when
Yeah,
my
that's why we're
my
here.
wife tells me, "Be careful how you tell these stories," because I get into it.
Yeah, yeah,
The old kind of.
yeah, of
So I'm like,
course.
okay. Yeah, I didn't care.
Wow, it sounds like your wife was your rock. If
Yeah,
there's one thing I always tell people,
yeah.
if you got a
That was
good
a good
woman,
girlfriend and girl, man.
yeah, a good woman is so vital.
Yeah,
Ladies, if ladies are watching
she backed
this,
me up.
let me tell you something, ladies. You guys are so vital to
Yeah.
us. If you only knew, you know, you guys help. Like, even though I'm not married anymore, at one time when I was, um, to my ex-wife, how you doing? Um, she used to like try to calm me down. And I have those same stories. She used to try to calm me down, Vance, Vance, Vance. And you guys have so much power if you only knew. You know what I'm saying? And so be that blessing to your man, because you can be that difference of him going away, going to jail time, or even worse, you know what I'm saying? Try to talk some sense into them,
Yeah.
because believe it or not, it does matter. It does help.
Yeah.
It's like,
She was.
she's trying to talk to you, like,
Yeah.
because she loves you. So that's a good thing. So, that's a blessing. So going back to that, you had no remorse after
Mm,
stabbing this
no.
guy, and if he would have died, you wouldn't have cared, huh?
No.
Wow.
I,
Were you hoping that he would have died?
I didn't think about it.
No.
No. And when I had to turn myself in, they talked me into it.
Yeah.
I turned myself in, Like when I was 15,
Yeah.
I was a gang founder and gang leader.
Yeah.
Other homeboys stepped up and took the gang to a whole different level. I was the first one to get locked up. So now I'm
Wow.
in juvie hall,
Yeah.
security unit,
Wow.
locked down from hands down,
Yeah.
as a kid,
How did that make you feel the first night in juvie?
The sad thing is I was looking forward to becoming one of the big homies.
You wanted to make a name for
I
yourself.
did.
Wow.
Name for the hood.
Yeah.
I remember my girlfriend did tell me one time, she goes, if you love me, you leave the neighborhood. I said, nah.
Yeah.
I said, you can leave me, but the hood never will.
Wow. That's true.
Yeah.
We unfortunately,
That's how deceived I was.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, us as men, we
It's
we sometimes
pride.
we do that sometimes. You know what I'm
Yeah, we
saying?
jacked up sometimes.
It's man, talking to you brings back flashbacks
Yeah.
of mine
It's
too.
a real stuff.
It's went back to my ex-wife.
Yeah, it's real
She told
stuff.
me the same thing. When we were young, and I told her, gonna leave no neighbor. What you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
You know. So I feel you right there.
Yeah.
Why we do that?
Our nature, man, our
Yeah,
pride.
I know. I know.
We
Wow.
believe, especially us as Mexicanos, Mexicans, when we're in it, we really believe in it.
Yeah.
Like we put our, like
Our heart and
I
soul.
guess it's in us somewhat.
It's the barrio.
Yeah.
It's exactly.
We the Aztecs, the Mayans, all this, they
Yeah.
had their little crew. They were loyal to that, and I
Yeah.
guess we're always tribal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
The hood. When it comes to big deals,
Yeah.
the sur gets together. But when
Yeah.
it's yeah, this is our hood. This is our reservation,
Yeah.
so to speak. Indian
Yeah.
reservation, kind of like
Yeah.
it's ours. Because we never had anything.
Yeah.
So we're supposed we have that love there, and I was cool with all the homies. I never treated anyone bad.
Yeah.
I loved the homies in that homie love. So I believed in it.
Yeah.
We started this hood, and yeah, it took off.
Wow.
It took off, man. Later on, the guys that I kind of influenced, they came in the juvie system too, and I was there for a bit. I'll say 6 months too. I was
Yeah.
going through trial. I remember my mom was telling. I was sitting down, and it was the public defender,
Yeah.
and it would say, "Hey, that they're waiting for him to die." And my
Wow.
mom will say, "Mi hijo es un buen niño." No hizo nada. Moms always believe the best, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at her like, man, I did do it.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, man, this guy, the public defender, we gotta wait because the district attorney is waiting to see what kind of charges they're gonna put on
Yeah.
you, and if he dies, you're gonna go in for murder.
Yeah. Of course.
And eventually, he didn't pass away, and so they
Thank
got me
God.
for attempted murder,
Yeah.
body harm for another person, and assault with a deadly weapon. I think they dropped the attempted murder,
Yeah.
and they gave me for assault with a deadly weapon and body harm. But I was trying to learn the ropes in there because I
Yeah.
used to hear about these big homies. I used to know there's a guy named, and I know that if I don't drop names, but
Yeah.
Edward James Olmos started
Yeah.
that movie, right?
Yeah.
He got information from a guy named Tony Casas,
Hmm.
and he was San Quentin associate warden or something like that.
Yeah.
I met him when I was out there in the streets,
Oh wow.
and he tried to talk some sense to me. And all those pictures that they have,
Yeah.
well, they came from him.
Really?
Yeah, and he
Wow.
would show them to me. He would talk. There would be the time where he would come here to my Palm Springs office. I want to show you something. Look at this. The pictures of the big knives and pictures of the real
Yeah.
big homies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, He thought he was scaring me. No, he was fueling me.
He was feeling
He
you.
was fooling. He was
You.
putting fuel in me, man.
That's what you wanted.
That's what I wanted.
Wow.
So now I was like, okay, so that's Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's
Yeah.
so and so, and that's so. Okay, so that's the story. Okay, so tell me about him, and he would tell me. But Jesse, if you go there, this and I just learning as a kid.
And you were feeding into
I
it.
was feeding into it. I wanted to know more, so I
Yeah.
can know history. I can know these guys.
Yeah.
Or the ones that
To be like them.
to be like them. I wanted to
Wow.
be like them. I thought it was some kind of powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It is. in that world,
Yeah.
but it's not in the real world, man. In the real world,
Yeah.
you start finding out it's just different,
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to be,
I want to be like that.
And so as a juvenile, I was learning to walk in those chains, and
Yeah.
you know, even in there, I was getting homeboys together. Hey, you know what? We got to stick together, man.
Yeah.
This mentality of the brown and the blacks, and it was just in me, man.
Were you so? I'm gonna say it's safe to say that you were never going into juvenile hall. You were never fearful. Am I correct? Or were you ever like, man, what am I doing here? This is. It doesn't sound like it, but
No, I was scared at
were you?
certain moments,
Okay.
like, but not in the where I was like fearful, fearful.
Yeah.
I was my fear was a mechanism for survival. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when I would see, like, I would throw down with somebody in there, and they'll lock me back in that, in that room. I was in that cell because
Yeah.
the security system was like
Yeah.
SHU program, but just for
Yeah.
juveniles. Throw me in there, and there's a cell, toilet, everything, just like you see in the prison.
What was the worst thing, Jesse, that you've seen in juvie? Because a lot of people, for some reason, make the assumption that juvie isn't as bad as jail, or because I'm gonna tell you guys something. Rape happens in juvie.
Yeah,
Um, kids get killed in juvie.
yeah,
Big fights. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, they're going to Disneyland. Things happen in juvie.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, not at the level of, what I'm saying, if they're, in the pen, or, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of things do happen in juvie. What was the
Yes.
worst thing that you've seen in juvie?
I was fortunate enough not to see the rapes.
Yeah.
I did stop one. This
How would
little,
you tell me
this
about
little
that?
kid. He was a white little kid, little kid,
Yeah.
and he was in the showers. And this this brother, came.
Yeah.
And he smacked him right in the butt, and because he was like a redhead, you could see
Yeah.
it was, he, and and he would kind of look at him like with those eyes.
Yeah.
And the little kid was, he was scared. He was small.
Yeah.
And I say, homie, cut it, man. That ain't gonna happen here. Well, not me. Not around me.
Yeah.
And he kind of looked at me. He bounced away from it.
Yeah.
And that little kid, it's kind of sentimental, I guess. He came up to me and goes, "Thank you, man." He was scared.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You remind me of my older brother, man. Thank you." I say, homie, from this day forward, you stay with me. You'll be all
Yeah.
right. Not that I was a shot caller or anything like
Yeah.
that, but they didn't know me as I'm gonna do
As
something.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick you. I'm gonna do. I would carry these pencils, and I
Yeah.
remember this one guy, big old brother, man. He came up to me. "What you gonna do, man?" He seen me hold his pencil, and I just looked at his eye, man. He didn't know, but I was like,
You were aiming for that
"Yeah,
eye.
yeah, yeah, you're big, but I'm way fast. I know I'm faster than you, man." I
Yeah.
didn't tell him that.
Yeah.
Calculating my mind. I was like, "Bro, I'll stick you right in the eye, bro. You'll never see it again, man. I got you."
I got you.
And he's looking
Said
at
I
me. I'm
got
looking
you.
at him, and he kind of walked away. I
Wow.
think you feel that kind of like,
Yeah.
you
You
know,
feel that tension. You
you
feel
feel,
that
yeah,
it's in
some,
the air that you could feel.
yeah. I just seen a lot of beatings, gotcha beatings. People getting jumped, getting
Yeah.
hit with the, in the head, uh, falling, hitting their head, smacking their head on the
Yeah.
in the toilet
Yeah.
sink,
Yeah.
boom, clack,
Wow.
those kinds of scenes
Yeah.
I seen in the jewelry system,
Wow.
and once they move it to, I was I was supposed to go to the youth authority, and things started changing at that time,
Yeah.
and so then I went to this camp up in uh, Twin Pines, and I started lifting weights, and I was getting buffed out,
Yeah.
looking good, Uh, I would say, "Hey, my girlfriend's my sister," so she would come in and see me. It was one of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool.
Yeah.
Had the not the Ben Davis, but the Big Bens.
Yeah.
And hey, homie, don't know the Big Bens.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still have it.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, the Big Ben.
You should have
And
wore it here today.
yeah, I should have, huh? I should have brought it
Yeah.
down, man.
You
The
know.
Big Bens, and I've got the Big Bens, and They don't have those no more.
Yeah.
That's the ones they really had in the prison system back
Back
in
in
the
the day.
days.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm proud of. I was like big man,
Yeah.
and I escaped from there, man. I AWOL'd. So
Nah.
they gave me a time. They said, we're gonna, because the guy didn't pass away. So they gave me that. They gave me a year in placement. I should have gone to White because the judge was mad at me. Like, you stabbed this, you did this, gang, and all that. But you know what? I'm going to send you to a year in placement in Twin Pines. And if you leave, you're doing 5 years in CYA. So I didn't even
Wow.
know what that was
Wow.
until later. And I left. I left because the gang was growing. And I started getting weird. I had my homeboy, little man, got locked up, rest in peace. And it was on, man. The gang was doing it. It was happening, man. And I just
Wow.
wanted a piece of that pie,
Yeah.
Like, yay. I was all into it.
Yeah.
Homeboys were growing. I was locked up. I had homeboys moving it. So yeah, I was the founder, but I was in the,
Yeah.
like the mind of it.
Yeah.
These guys were pushing this,
They were making the
they're
barrio
making this
prosper.
vision,
Yeah.
and they were doing it. By the time I AWOL'd, I remember AWOLing took me 6 hours to come down that mountain.
Wow.
And the way I calculated was because I found out someone AWOL from that place before, and his name was David Moreno, his chief. He was was a native. He was
Wow.
a cool dude. That's why I mentioned his name. It was cool.
How was that six
It
man
was
hour night?
wild.
Tell me about that real
So
quick.
there was 6 of us, and there was 3 guys, I believe, from Los
Yeah.
Angeles, and there was one, two, and three. Yeah, and 3 of us from the valley.
Over here.
And that was before they had these casinos.
Yeah.
So we're coming down from that mountain,
Sheesh.
and Chief, he knew the way. I don't know if it because he was native, but I spoke to him, and he was doing good. I had this mind where I guess I was able to convince these guys. Not I heard that he walled, and I went up to him. Hey, what's up? What's your name? He goes, my name's David. They call me Chief. I said, hey, my name's Jesse. They call me Zombie.
Yeah.
I heard you took off from here before. He goes, yeah. How about let's do it
Let's
again?
do it again.
And he was getting his GED. He was like a model,
Wow.
a model juvie inmate.
Wow. And you messed it
And
up.
I messed him
You
up.
messed them up,
I
huh?
jacked them all up, Vince.
Híjole.
I spoke to him, and somehow I convinced him. I told him, you come with me. We'll go to my hood, take care of you. You stay with me for like a few months. You do have to find your way later, but I'll take care of you. Just get me down, man.
Yeah.
He said, let me think about it. It didn't take him too long. He thought about it. And we convinced some other guys, and it was during meds. They had these med call.
Yeah.
And we had our everything ready. We planned it. It took a couple
Yeah.
of weeks,
Yeah.
I had my Bible in the bottom. I thought the Bible was like a lucky charm. I had them in the bottom. I never read it at that time, but I had it at the bottom of my pillowcase.
That's right.
And I put a few things in there. And when they called meds, the staff, I would go to a certain spot.
Yeah.
There was a certain door that was open, but no one thinks they're gonna walk down that mountain.
Yeah.
And whew, we left without them knowing. Running, jumping. This
6 hours.
Yeah. And the reason I know when we coming down, it was scary. Chief was a big guy, and he would put me on it because I was a little guy.
Yeah.
About 120 pounds of that, and he would put me on his shoulder and get on my shoulder, Holmes, and coming down. It's so dark. I couldn't see where I was going. I was looking forward to
Yeah.
like, where are we going? Just come down here. And these other guys were following. I was the smallest guy.
Yeah. So 6 hours coming down this mountain. Dude, I mean, did you see rattlesnakes? Did you see, what you see up there, man? I mean, dear Lord.
It was dark.
You guys went in the nighttime.
Yeah, no flashlight, no nothing.
Nothing.
Just at nighttime. I was really depending on the instincts of a native.
Híjole.
Oh yeah, man. So I figured I was what.
So you guys are coming down.
I was already. I just turned 16. Coming down, and I was like, dang, I remember him putting on my shoulders, come down on me, There was no, I didn't see no rattlesnake. It was just, but when I would look up from where we came down from, it was cliffs, like, and I'm like, how did we do this, man? I was like, how did we do this? You know, my mind was like,
it's a little crazy,
yeah,
man.
yeah. No, it was wild, man. Crazy. You know?
Coming down the mountain.
I'm surprised no one died.
I was gonna say that. I'm surprised nobody fell, man. Nobody rode down.
An ankle or
something.
You know, and we had to go through a certain way. We couldn't go down the road. It's like, because they'll be looking for us.
Well, yeah, of course.
We're going through some site. I don't know where he was taking me through.
Wow.
Taking me through the Apache way or something. I don't know.
And you guys made it.
We made it down. And tripped, yeah. So when we made it down, we went straight into the Cabazon Indian Reservation.
Okay.
And because he was known there.
Yeah.
He was involved with some muertes, you know.
Yeah.
So he, you know, things that he didn't get caught with.
Yeah.
But he was involved. He was in.
Yeah.
You know. And if he knows I'm wrong, God bless you, brother. I ain't seen him for a long time, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still around, but he was cool, you know. Yeah. As we went into there, the guys from LA, they kind of seen the Indian reservation. They like, nah, we're good, and they went west. You know what I mean? Yeah. They took off to Los. They went that route, and then we stayed in the Cabazon reservation. And now it's like, okay, now I gotta get back to my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And now, if you recall, like, we were just a new gang, so I didn't know homeboys had cars and all that. Yeah. So they did, but I didn't know. Like, I was trying to figure things out. But we were at the Indian reservation for a while because the cops can't go in there.
Yeah.
So we were cool.
You were safe there.
Yeah, we were safe.
So I would have stayed there, huh?
Yeah, I would have. I did for a bit. We did for a few, you know. We were going. I didn't know, man. It was kind of like, it was a little, like how can I put it?
Different.
It was different, man. It was freak night. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because there were different guys, different people. We went in and they lived in trailers. Now they're doing good, but they live in trailers. And I'm like, man, you know. And I started remembering these things that took place. You know, like, man, I better get out of here. You know. And I would look, you know.
What kind of things took place?
People got killed.
Yeah.
I know 2 homeboys that got killed there.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were like, Charlie, I didn't want to stay too long.
Man, if they find out where I'm from, you know, they might just say, hey, were you with those guys too? I'm like, nah, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This big old guy, he was huge. Big old dude. He had a hat that was flipped over and said, you sit down, and I'm like, man, Chief, who's this? He goes, he's one of the guys. He's a big homie. I'm like, big homie, you know, he's big, all right, you know.
He's big. Like he's a big vato.
But I was like, hey, you guys got any weed? They looked at me like I was like, nah, but we got crystal meth. So then I started seeing the light bulbs missing, kids in diapers.
Yeah.
So it was getting to my head. I was like, nah, did I do it? Yeah, I smoked some crystal meth, but it wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get high. I didn't like it.
You wanted to get back to your vodka.
Yeah. Eventually, I ended up calling my jefito. We walked down to Banning.
Yeah.
And there was this payphone, and I called my jefito, and I told my jefito I was gonna leave. He told me, don't, man. Oh, no, I gotta go.
Wow.
And so when I called him, I told Dad, I'm out here in Banning. He says, "Te cabrón, you know, you're crazy. Come pick me up."
Pick you up. You wanted to get back to your barrio? You ready to go to your barrio now?
Yeah.
You know, as you guys know, here on Barrio Driven, that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on. We don't only talk about the streets, we go to the streets. This is Barrio Driven, and we're headed out. Where are we going?
We're going to the city called Desert Hot Springs.
Okay.
We're going to my neighborhood. Originally on the map, the city's called Dos Palmas, but we named it Brownstown, so everyone knows it as Brownstown to this day. You know, even the city council.
Really?
Yeah, they know, and so that's where we're gonna be going.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's roll.
Let's go. So right now, we're out. In case those that didn't know, Barrio Driven is on the road. We're out in Coachella Valley, which is about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours from Los Angeles. And, you know, this is where we're at. This is where Barrio Driven has brought us today. And, you know, we're also looking forward to doing stories in Arizona, all over the place. If you got a story, let us know. Nice. You know? So, Right now, you're taking us to your barrio.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been out to your barrio? Indio, right there.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. My last time I've been, not really. I drive through there last time, but I don't walk. I haven't gone to my neighborhood that much. I stopped going there for certain reasons. There was a moment where, because of who I used to be out there, the cops, for whatever reason, even though certain things changed in my life, they would still kind of stop me or things like that. So I never wanted to bring too much attention there. But I don't think we're gonna have that problem today.
So because we got like a good 15-20 minute drive, right?
Yeah.
As where we finish the story is basically you guys just came down the mountain.
Yes.
You're hiding in the Indian reservation, but you
Right.
want to get back to your barrio. So you call your jefito to come pick you up, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
My jefito picked me up, and he picks me up. We're hiding behind his truck. It was a Chevy S10 truck, man. And so we're and he picked me up in Banning. Me and the homie, like I said, a native chief.
Yeah.
And we drive back. We go to my house, and I didn't think anything of it. We were there, and that night we spent the night there. It was the day after. Because we stayed in my house for a little bit. My mom and dad, they left, and they said we'll be back. And there was undercovers all over the place. They were knocking and looking around the house, and it was just me and Chief in my room. And I looked down, and
they raided your house.
They raided my house, but they didn't go inside. They were just walking around.
In the yard. Okay.
I don't know if they were looking or. I know they were looking, but I don't know how come they didn't go in at that time yet. But they were just knocking, and I looked, and I said, "Dang, it's the placas, it's the cops." And it was funny because I looked down, and Chief, man, he peed in his pants. I was going, "Oh, homie, what's up, dog?" You know, like, oh man, I mean, I think it was, I don't know, man. And I'm like, man, and we were laughing, but he goes, "Dang it, homie," and and we were just like in pause. I didn't know what to do because, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And we just waited. No one really went in there. No one did. I guess they noticed that no one was there. No cars, nothing. We were very quiet. But that same night, my Vito got home, and I said, you know what, I got to get out of here because they're going to come. There's any minute they're going to come in. They're going to come for me. Of course, because of the crime I've done, everything, like I said, if you escape, you're going to CYA. And so I got to get the heck out of here, man.
You just stabbed this dude.
Yeah.
You go to juvie, then you go to camp. You escape from camp.
Go to the hood.
And
but I was in the hood for a bit. The thing is, like, I left. I was in the hood from house to house before I went to Mexicali. I just let my dad make some calls to my family out there in Mexicali.
Yeah.
And make some arrangements, but I was out in the hood running around, and I remember going into this party, man, and the homies like, "Hey, what's up, zombie, man?" We walked in. I've never seen so many homies in my life. Not like this in the desert. Like, whoa, man, these guys were putting in work. I walked in the house. They got to be like 50 homies in there, man. I was like, wow, this is far from where I was
left.
When I left.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, these guys. Guns, knives, homies, party, DJ, and it was this house party, man. I was like feeling it, man. Like, dang, this is crazy. And looking in there and like, wow, what's up, zombie? And they were telling us about the ins and outs and who was the new enemies, and there was another gang, and things have changed. I'm like, wait a minute, man, what are we talking about? But I remember they seen this guy. I walked in the backyard, my homeboy Little Man, rest in peace. He was like my best friend of mine. He was my best friend, and he says, "Hey man, this is your time. This is your turn, homie. We're gonna let you jump this about the wind." And I was like, "Nah, I'm cool. I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Like, you guys do it. They jumped in 2 vatos in the neighborhood. Man, it was a beat down of the century, man. It was like 13 seconds, but it felt to them, I'm sure it felt to them like it was an hour. And they would come to me and they shook my hand and said, hey, mucho gusto conocerte, that talk.
Yeah.
But I was just 16, man.
Yeah, you were still
But I was
yourself.
feeling like I was an adult, like I was like the king, or some kind of guy that they looked up to, But I still was humble in a way, even though I was in the streets. But I felt high on that. And we went and I talked to some homies. We did put in some work. I went and did a few drive-bys in some neighborhoods.
Yeah.
That was enemy neighborhoods. I was having fun. I got to meet new homies, meet new people.
Yeah.
But I had to go because they raided my mom's pad.
Yeah.
And I got word, and my girl back then she was like, she wasn't feeling it. She was like, he just left. When I showed up at her house, she couldn't believe it. She goes, what are you doing here? And I can't see you, baby doll, And she was mad, but at the same time she was happy. But I did leave, and it came down to that point where I took Chief with me to Mexicali, and the native, because I told him I'll take care of him. So everywhere that I went, he went with me.
So you guys left here and went to
Mexicali, and I was there. I had no plan. I was just trying on a run.
And you're 16 years
and
old.
I'm 16 years old.
Wow.
And I'm like having some fun over there. Buying weed was different. I met this guy named Truco Truc, which means trick or treat in Spanish and English. And I would ask him, hey, because like I said, I used to smoking weed. I said, where's the weed at? And they would call me California. Because I was from California. Yeah. And I had some money, a lot of, $20 go a long ways for there.
Yeah.
So buy weed, but over there they would buy it out of, you would walk down some neighborhoods. We would have to run because their enemies were chasing us. And the neighborhood I was, where my tia lived and my tios, it was a rough neighborhood in La Baja.
Yeah.
Real. I would walk out and I would see someone dead, flopped over in the fence. Like, it was crazy, and the cops killed them. Yeah, no, Mexicali is crazy. Forget the hoods. I mean, over there, it's nuts.
And this is where you want to take me to go get some dental work.
Yeah, no, we're going to take you down to the other side. Where they have the new Applebee's.
That's where he wants to take me. I need to go see the dentist. And he goes, oh, Vince, don't trip. We're going to go to Mexicali. Where they kill people and leave them on the porch right there.
No, matter of fact, I'll take you there. My cousin lives there. You'll see the house. My grandma's house made out of wood.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's very humble, man. Yeah, it's messed up now, but it's still there.
So where in your barrio are you taking us to? Are you going to take us to where that stabbing occurred? Or are you going to take us to...
I'll take you straight to the stabbing that occurred in front of Vaughn's shopping center. Show you how it all went down. You know what? I don't go there because of that. It brings...
Those memories.
It does. I never believed in PTSD and all that, but it's true. That's why I don't like going up to Highway 74. But like I said, I'll take you there to the neighborhood. My mom's pad outside, it's still there. My mom's there. I got my little brother lives there. We don't talk as much as we used to, but he still lives there. But I'll take you there where we grew up.
I want to go there. That's one of the things that I always tell people that, when you're a part of a barrio, or you don't even have to be from a barrio, even raised in a barrio environment, a lot of times, the homies, they suffer from PTSD.
Yeah,
they do, because it's like, man, the things that comes with that lifestyle, it's like you're constantly thinking, man, the Buddha's gonna be coming in, and then, what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Or you're always constantly looking behind your back, you're always like, what's going on? You're always on trucha, and that just kind of stays with you, man. You kind of suffer from things that you've seen in your life too, when you've seen homies pass away, or you having to go and, put in work yourself. Those things, they haunt you. They just don't disappear.
They're not, this is not something, the lifestyle that, any homie lives or any homeboy or homegirl lives, it doesn't just leave you. It's there for the rest of your life. And sometimes people don't understand that. We may change our ways, we may change our way we think or the way we speak or God may transform us, but that is always there.
It's always there.
You know what I'm saying?
It hurts, man. I go by to where my homeboy did a shootout. Homeboy, little man. He had a shootout with some the cops. They killed him.
What happened? I was gonna tell you what happened to little man. Because you mentioned him a few times.
Yeah, he was real close to me, man. He was a young man that I recruited into the neighborhood. His mother's real close to me still.
So you got him to the water?
I got him to the water. He was a talented man, young man. He could have been a football player, weightlifter, power lifter. He was that. I still feel, and this is where where I feel now a sense of I don't know if it's guilt, man. It's just
remorse.
I feel bad. I feel like, hey, I started this hood, but because of that, he's gone, man. And if I never did that, he would still be alive. So I have somewhat I always say like his blood is in my hands somewhat. I caused this thing. Though I didn't do it. He went and believed in something that we believed in, and he died for it.
Yeah.
The shootout with the cops, he was on drugs and all that, but still, he was a very down about them, very down about them. He put in a lot of work. People respected him a lot. When I was locked up, he got locked up. He went to prison. He did his time, but he was respected. But he swore he wasn't going to go back to prison, Vince, and he didn't. He said, no, you're not. And he got in that shootout, and the cops killed him. We passed by there, and a homeboy named Dreamer, man, where he hung himself in the barrio, in the tree. I haven't gone there for years, but when I do go there, man, like, haunts me, haunts me, man, So like, dang, man, homeboy, these homies that I grew up with, that I love dearly, you know what I mean? They're gone, man, and I always say to myself, like, man, I maybe I shouldn't be carrying that, but I still was part of that, and that's why this city, kind of, they love me but hate me too. You know what I mean? Because I try my best to help out now, but at the same time, they remember certain things that took place. So here we make a right. Now we're entering Desert Hot Springs. What's in the desert? A lot of dead bodies, homie.
Oh yeah, there is.
That's what's in the desert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so back in the day, they used to call this. You know how we have the Inland Empire?
Yeah.
Well, Coachella Valley, when I was younger, they would always want to be separate, so they'll call themselves Desert Empire. The D.
Yeah.
And now it's both the Inland Empire would be the Desert Empire. Coachella Valley was their own identity, their own cliques, their own gang. At a certain moment, they didn't want to be part of the IE. Now they are, but there was a time when they didn't want to be.
So you do feel a sense of remorse that, as you said, your homeboy Dreamer, rest in peace, and for, the families of these gentlemen that are no longer with us. You have our deepest condolences, and all we can do is pray that God has helped you to heal. And if that's even possible, because losing a loved one is, sometimes that's a wound that sometimes never gets healed.
It's hard. Yeah.
So you have our deepest condolences. And I was gonna say, you carry that with you then.
I love.
To know that this homeboy that you helped usher into your barrio died.
Yeah, I schooled them. Taught them how to put on the dickies, grease them, the white tees from the Stanfords, from Jesse Penney's,
Yeah.
The look, man, the long belts, you know, all that. And I would tell him, hey, you know, my mom doesn't want me dressed like that when he was, you know, going to middle school. And I told him, it's all right, dress like you dress, but put in your backpack the dickies, the t-shirts, or school them. You know, and I was getting into guys, these kids from middle school, and teaching them that those that lived around my neighborhood, because there was, like I said, there was no barrio there. We were the barrio, and we were, you know, I was always looking at certain houses where youngsters would come out and say, okay, that guy looks like potential. This one looks like potential, and I would hit him. Hey, what's up? What's your name, man? Oh, my name's so and so. My name's Matt. Oh, my name's Dylan. My name's Fred, or you know, like, hey, what's up, man? My name's Jesse. What's up? And just had that lingo, and come on, man, let's go smoke some weed, and that's how I started. And just recruiting people in the neighborhood. Little kids started looking up to it. I would put the little kids away, like, nah, you're too small, you know, you're 8, you're 10, come on, get over there. And some, you know, they wanted to be part of the neighborhood, but I wouldn't let them. It was just getting too intense. But when I got out, like I said, when I was out there on the run in Mexicali, I was there about 2-3 months, getting high, doing nothing. Just, you know, fighting, cutting shots, whatever, from the phone. My dad gave me a call and he told me, hey, mijo, I had a heart attack. And I remember I had told you that my dad has a heart problem, and he goes, you're stressing me out. They keep knocking my door. They're coming to the house. Turn yourself in, mijo. We're coming in right here, bitch. You know, this is where there used to be a place called Mother's Pizza over here. Now it's a weed shop. It's funny, man. You know, this gas station we used to kick back, it was an older gas station. And now it's newer. There's two parts of our neighborhood. There's going to be this part, and there's another part over there what they would call Little Brownstown. They became an extension of our guys that lived in the other side. We'll drive by there. We have time, but I'll take you over here first because we want to stop by before the light goes down. And
if there's two places I would like to go, it'd be the stabbing, and it'd be where little man, you know, passed away.
I was right here down the street. He got out of this house, was driving right here, and they were chasing the car right here down. He went down that way. We'll go over there right now. And the car flipped over. His ruca was driving me, and so the ruca hit another car, and he got out of the car running, and the cops tased him, and they crushed his testicles, man. You know, according to the whole thing, and they beat him. They beat him down bad, man.
Really?
Yeah. It pissed me off, man, because I had a thing for the cops after that. You know, even it wasn't cool. You know. Now this is from the barrio from here down.
Yes.
All the way down inside.
Oh, this is your barrio.
Yeah,
right?
all the way down. Keep going. All these houses, all this. I'm gonna take my glasses off so we can see better. And so then we turn right here. This is called Avenida Ventura. And make a right here. There used to be a sign there that said welcome to Desert Hot Springs, but they took it down, you know. And so this is the barrio right here. It starts from right here all the way up. These two sides.
This is your barrio.
Yeah. These are new houses people are building now.
Let's take a turn on one of these streets if you don't mind. I just want to know, as you're coming down here, like, what do you have?
This wasn't here before. It was just a wall that was brown, and so we used to graffiti this whole wall.
Really?
Yeah. Now there's an old house there. We'll go by there in a little bit. Where my girlfriend used to live, which is my wife now. Her house is still there. You know, we can go by there too in a bit. But all these places, man, I have memories. There's a BT.
Yeah.
You see that?
That's right. There's your barrio right there.
BT. Someone kind of scraped over it. Yeah.
Oh, they try to paint over the city.
They paint over, the city. There's this old man, they call it Goomer. The old man Goomer, and he always comes in and he wants to paint over the barrio. Well, hey, you tell your homies to stop doing that. I said, man, I've been in this hood for 20 years, homie, man. What type?
Yeah, what are you talking?
Yeah, these youngsters, they do what they want. Look, I'm gonna pass by my house, watch. This house, where's the house? Yeah. This brings a lot of memories, man. We walked through this barrio, man. Homies homies that live down here, you know, this house, behind that. People will see this like, oh yeah, no, this is the, if anything, would be the safest place in this city right here.
Right here.
Yeah. Because the more higher we go, that's when you start seeing all the drugs and the people and fentanyl, people, all, where I'm gonna go where I did the stabbing, that's where everything kind of,
It's happening.
yeah. I remember coming through here now and seeing this guy that got shot at that house in the corner, and he was flopped over the fence.
Right here?
Yeah. And I remember there's a shootout right here, man.
You see the walls all
Yeah, you
taped
see
up.
the walls.
Yeah, let's go walk over there. Just drive over there. Why not walk over there?
Yeah. So my house is over there. My mom's pad down the street.
So we see your
CSHBT.
yeah, BT right there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's right. Your barrio is alive and active.
Oh,
man.
it's active. See right there on my left side?
Yeah, right there too.
Yeah.
The city is doing their best and trying to paint over it.
Yeah. Brownstone local gang.
Yeah, you see
That's
that.
it. Yeah. They're active.
Well, of course.
They're doing their thing, you know.
As you're driving through here, what do you think about that you started this barrio?
It's crazy, Rich.
You start. If you actually think about, I'm gonna hit you heavy. You ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know this is Barrio Driven.
Yeah, let's go.
How do you feel that all the people and all the murders that have occurred, all the blood that has been shed, is because of you? All that blood is on you, Jesse.
Uh-huh.
All of that blood. Have you even ever thought about that?
I have.
All the people that have died.
I have. The cops that have been shot. Cop almost got murdered there. He survived, my homeboy. They shot him and he was on a bicycle. The cop tried to stop him, shot him right in the face. All that is because of me.
Yeah.
You know, and people that have died because of me. Yeah. I do think about it, just like I thought about my homies that died because I probably didn't squeeze the trigger, I didn't hang the homie, I didn't shoot at the cops, but it was my bright idea almost.
Yeah.
And that kills me inside, homie. And so that's why from the point where I started changing my life, you know, and we'll get into that. It's just that's why I try to help as much as possible because I cause all this damage.
Yeah.
I gotta do something to help, and that's how I find myself somewhat redeeming what I've done,
Yeah.
and to help the homies, you know, and the city and stuff. But yeah, there's no escape from it. I'm not gonna condemn myself about it. You know,
Yeah.
everybody has their own decisions, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's still calmate. It still comes from the point of you know, it was me and some homies that, hey man, we can protect ourselves from so and so gang and
Yeah.
a raza can live, but at what price? You
Yeah.
know, the pain of mothers.
Yeah.
You know, most of my homies didn't even have dads or moms. You know, they were, you know, they were. All this is low income housing at that time. You know.
How do you sleep at night, Jesse?
You know, I sleep good.
Do you?
Yeah, but because I pray, I says, God, you know, thank you for this beautiful day.
Yeah.
Thank you for peace in my life. But I also pray for others, and I continue to think about, okay, Lord, what can I do to help others in a way where I can redeem what I've done? You know.
Is that what made you come on Barrio Driven? To
Yeah.
help make change?
Yeah, Barrio Driven, you know, we gotta bring some hope, man. Yeah, we'll cause all this mess, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
That even though we've gone through these hard moments in life, though we've caused certain damage, that there's redemption in the end.
Yeah.
most of the hardcore has had redemption.
If you could, oh, is this your house?
I'll show you where I grew up, man. Vamos.
If you could go back in time, Jesse, would you do things different?
Man, that's a great question, Vince.
Yeah, this is Barrio Driven.
If I would go back in time, would I do things? This is my mom's pad.
Right here, this is the
Where
house.
I grew up.
This is the house
This
right
is
here,
the house
huh?
right there, man. Look at this.
Wow.
15 drive-bys, shootouts.
Really? How many drive-bys?
We had about good four or five drive-bys.
At
People
the house?
come by. I would shoot out.
Man.
One time I shot. I was standing right there with this great cars, and I shot and ended up shooting this house. And the cops came because the guy that came by, we were out there partying out here, and we shoot, pass. The cops came, and because they called the cops, and they say, we know that there was a shootout. You hit the house next door, and you know what they said? Who are you shooting at? You shooting at the blacks? I said, yeah, Holmes. You know what's up. What's good? Next time, kill them. So there was
the cops told you this.
Yeah,
the Huras.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is
man.
Barrio Driven, eh?
Yeah, it is.
It's like they told me this. Next time, kill them. Kill them.
Kill him.
Kill them.
Wow.
They ain't even like that, Mato.
Hijo.
But I was smart enough to know that it was just a setup for me. If I did it, they would know that I did it because they told me to do it. I wasn't
And
that
you were able to
stupid.
get rid of him for them.
Yeah.
You'd be like, he took care
We
of
know
no
who did it,
problem.
man. We know who did it. It was so and so, And
Yeah.
but yeah, this little kid was hiding inside the garage during a drive-by, and now he's in prison. He's got the water in there. He was in the big times, Folsom and all those areas. He was a little kid when he was around me.
Wow.
And I remember getting him out of the garage, and I'm like, get out, homie. And stop hiding inside the desk, Holmes. If you're gonna stand outside, stand out. Stop shaking like that, Holmes.
Yeah.
Come on, man. He was shaking. But that guy now, he's a killer, man. So kind of putting that in that kid, and as he grows up, he ends up being some guy in prison that does work, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, huh? I haven't been in this house for a bit, Holmes.
All the memories that you have. Huh? Wow.
Take you down to, it's crazy, huh?
It is.
Man, it's getting nighttime, though. They don't mean to come out right now.
Oh yeah, they be coming out right now.
Right now.
Right now's the time to start.
Yeah.
And we're out here on Saturday?
It's on Saturday.
Man,
It's
it's
a
a Saturday.
I told some of the homies I was shooting at Barrio Driven. They told me, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm gonna talk about my story. Don't worry about yours, Holmes.
Okay, no, don't worry about yours, Holmes.
It's just, I told them we're gonna talk about what took place. But all these areas, I will go to house, like watch where there was youngsters coming out to recruit. You wanna go down to where I stabbed that guy?
Yeah. Man, you guys must have like snakes and everything around here all over the
Hey
place,
man,
right?
one time the homies and I, we were walking down the street,
Yeah.
right? And then they said, I looked down the street because there's no lights over here, and we looked down and we seen something in the street, and my homeboy goes, what's that? And my homeboy touched it, and it goes, it was a rattler.
Órale.
Man, brother, you better watch out, eh?
Yeah, no.
There's a rattler right
Not
there.
only do you gotta watch out for enemies, you gotta watch out for the snakes también.
Yeah, there's a house down here that I use to help people right here down the street.
Over there?
Yeah, it's open, man, for homies to come in. They need any help, I open the door. When I escaped from the camp, went to Mexicali, Rinse, came back. I listened to my jefito.
Yeah.
I told him, you know what, okay, jefe, but I'm gonna do about 5, 6, 7 years, man. I called that guy again, Tony Casas. He goes, where you been, homie? I've been on the run. He goes, no, I know that. And I go, hey, do me a favor, man, pick me up in my mom's pad, man. I came back from Mexicali. He picked me up, and he he talked to some people so they don't treat me gacho, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, he was a San Quentin warden. He knew all that ins and out. And so I would always call him because I guess it was like a juice card for me, you know.
Yeah.
And he goes, all right, homie. He took me into juvie hall again, and there goes the system again. I was back at it, all over again, going to court, going through it, escape, now all this and that. And you know what they did? They sent me to Chino Hills, another placement program. They didn't send me to YA, they didn't send me to anything. They sent me, there was a placement there in Chino Hills for boys.
Yeah.
And in that area, that's where everything started changing for me. This man named Ruben Morales, Chaplain Morales, he would always come up to me and bug me, man, and talk to me about God. And it took him a minute, but I said, I don't want to hear it. He was from Pico Rivera. He was from Pico. And he was a cool
It's a good
dude.
city.
Yeah, it is, man. My brother was from there too, my brothers. Okay, this is a spot. So once you come over here, like I said, McDonald's, remember I mentioned McDonald's?
Yeah.
This was already up here, all the way up was enemies.
The bonds right here.
Yeah, man. So this is where it started, eh? If you want, we can get off, man.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
I see some freaky people, but it's okay, that's what we
It's all
want to
good.
see.
It's all good.
Like I said, they call this the Compton of the Valley, man. If you look it up, one of the highest crime rates in California at once. Yeah, here it is, man, Vince. I'm already,
I want to
it's already like, I can feel it. I sense it, man. Oh, yeah. It's
Okay.
almost like the devil's waiting for me right there.
Let's go. He might be.
He might be.
Okay, so we just got to the spot where Jesse, you know, showed some love to an individual.
Yeah.
Thank God he didn't pass away. But we're here right at the McDonald's where this first started. So
Yeah.
Jesse, talk us through exactly
yeah.
what happened here.
So we're sitting in there. I seen my enemies over here on this side of the parking lot.
Okay.
And my homeboy, he goes towards, my enemy he was like this. He was in a car here.
Okay.
He was talking to somebody, you know, leaning in.
Yeah.
My homeboy comes from the side like you did, and he just clocked on here.
Bam.
Ah! Guy flipped over, and I was out there behind my homeboy, and I
Yeah.
had this rock, and I threw this rock at him, and it was on. They're throwing down, and there was a. Yeah, nah, we're just recording a documentary, homie. All right, what's up? And so there was a dude that was right here, one of his homeboys, and because I was here, you know, threw that rock. Whew, I remember just I seen him he took out his knife, and I just walked up, but real quick and grabbed him, and I went, Sah!
Wow.
Bam, right there, and then turned around, and I started chasing the other guy, and it was just the guy took out his knife,
Yeah.
his filero, and he threw it down because I had a big old kitchen knife. There's no way he was gonna fight.
Yeah.
He went and he ran, and I told my homeboy, "Let's get out of here, man." And his mom came out, and my ruca came out, and they were all screaming. They seen it. This guy's running over there. I don't know where he ran. I don't even know what happened. When I turned around, he was gone.
Wow.
Guy there was blood everywhere. And then I went over to that Del Taco.
Well, before we've had the privilege of having Jesse's wife with us throughout this duration, and we're gonna bring it later on. But I want to bring it in really quickly right now. And I forgot what's your wife's name again?
Yeah, Ali.
Ali, can you come on, Ali? Ali, now you were here this night, right? When this happened, you were here. Ali, yeah, exactly. You already know protocol. Ali, tell me what you remember on this night.
Actually, it wasn't a night.
Oh yeah. You remember of this day?
Yeah,
Go ahead, talk to
it was
me.
pretty bright, in bright daylight. So
Wow.
he had seen somebody, and so he ran out here to confront them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see it. All I saw was he ran over here, him and my brother,
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I see one of the other young men uh, barely like dragging his leg, dragging himself with just puddles of blood the whole way down. Like
Wow.
it was a freaky thing
Wow.
to see.
And
But
this was the gentleman that was stabbed.
yeah, and I didn't
And
see nothing else. So I don't.
when you came to know that this gentleman that is clinging to life, that it was done by your husband, did that make you feel like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Who am I really with? Or I mean,
No, I already knew who I was really.
you already knew who you were with.
Yeah,
She stuck by him. You see?
I already knew I was really with. I knew that if something didn't happen in his life, like where he changed or
Yeah.
something, that he wasn't gonna live very long. He was gonna kill somebody,
Yeah.
or he wasn't gonna live very long because he was too real, like too.
Yeah.
He didn't have any holds bar. You know, he wouldn't hold back anything. He would
Yeah.
just.
He didn't care. He just was
Yeah,
like, this is
he
who
was just like, just straight out, and
And
it's just crazy, I knew that either someone's gonna shoot him. I mean, you're not Iron Man, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So we're not. So I knew that, like I said, not knowing what he had done so far. So whether he was gonna take someone's life out, or he was gonna die very soon. I knew that he was gonna last
And
that long.
you felt that in your heart, like this.
Yeah, I knew.
Wow.
And I wasn't someone that cared about living either. So I wasn't
Wow.
too. I had a kind of like I was kind of angry inside. So my father took his life when I was 2, and I have had deaths.
Really?
My brother, and then my second mom to me, my mom's sister. So by the time I was 13, I've had several deaths.
Yeah,
So
a lot of several deaths.
I kind of felt like my life, like why me, So it wasn't that important for me neither to live, but I knew he wasn't gonna last that long.
Yeah.
Or he was gonna kill somebody.
Wow. But here we are. How many?
Yeah.
It's amazing how God works, huh?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
And we're gonna get back to you later. Don't worry. Thank you. There you go.
Let's go.
All right. So anyway, talk to me. So you said right after this happened, you go over to the Del Taco.
Del
correct?
Taco, cause my
Talk
homeboy.
to us. Let's walk over there. We're
Yeah,
going to the steps all over.
We run over there.
Okay. We run to
So
Del Taco.
my homeboy. I had a homeboy named Thumper.
Okay.
He's still around, so blessings on him, man.
Shout out to you, Thump.
Yeah, he worked there.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he used to work there, and they used to sell weed on a drive-through. and so, but he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I went over to get just more gente to help me out in case that guy, because he went. I know where he was going.
Yeah.
He was going to go get his
homeboys.
His homeboys.
Yeah.
By the time I came out from Del Taco, and I looked, there was a car right there where that car passed, and his homeboys were there. It was his carnal, his brother, and his older guy came out and he was chasing my homeboy with that flashlight.
Yeah.
And that's where he tripped over on this side. The scenery is a little changed, but he tripped over on this side and hit him over the head. And the other guy that I was going to stab, I was chasing him down the street. I was chasing him down here because I was out there and I was like running after him.
Yeah.
And he was like, run, he's got a knife, run. I said, run, and I was saying bad words, run, run. And he just jumped into the car and I was trying to, he moved and I just didn't get him. And he ran into that car that was parked there and he drove off. And that's where my mother-in-law and them, we got in their car and we took out to the neighborhood.
Wow. So for after that, you went straight to
the... It's all like yesterday, man.
Wow.
I can picture everything. I remember it. So I see it in my mind, like a film.
Yeah, it never leaves.
No.
That's one thing, when I talk to all the different people that I've been blessed to be able to talk to, they all say the same thing. It never leaves. It's like you can remember when, just as when we're children, when we're young kids, when we have that trauma, they have that trauma too, of everything that they've been through in life, and it's a blessing that you didn't hit that other guy because then you would have had 2 charges on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't care that time.
I know you didn't care.
You
didn't care.
It was just that. Yeah, but it was a blessing I didn't.
Yeah.
It was all man above. It was God.
It was God
protecting me even through that.
Even through that.
Those times.
Where are we going now? Are we gonna go see Little Man, or is there someone else you'd want to take us to?
No, we just go. Let's go by where the shootout that happened with him, and before it gets a little darker, you know.
Let's go. Right now, we're
We
gonna
can
go
we can
headed to the place where Little Man unfortunately lost his life, and we're gonna be headed there now. So anyway, forgive. I mean, this is Barrio Driven. You know what I'm saying? We don't stay in the comfort of just the studio. We come out and about, gente, to tell everyone's story. So, as Jesse has been letting us know, his closest homeboy, the one that he loved with all his heart, passed away here, and that's why we wanted to visit. You know, this memory of Jesse, and once again, like I said, the family of Little Man, you have our deepest condolences. He is not forgotten, and I pray that God bless you all and give you the strength always to heal. So tell us exactly what happened, Jesse.
Yeah, so he did a shootout. His,
Yeah,
this girl was driving, and so he
shooting out the window. You told
yeah,
me shooting, and they crashed right here,
and he
right?
crashed into another vehicle, and he jumped out and he ran towards the
Let's go.
desert. Eventually, the cops caught up to him.
So he ran out here.
Yeah, he was just running.
Wow,
He was
out
running.
here.
Yeah, he was running for his life, man.
Let's try not to get bitten by any
Nah,
rattlesnakes.
we're good. I think because it rained, they stay in. But you know, he kind of ran in here in the desert,
So
and he went in there, and the cops grabbed him. Uh, Finally found out later on what took place. You know,
what exactly
they
took
they
place?
they put him in shackles. And they tased him multiple times.
Yeah.
Uh, Multiple times. They crushed his testicles. They broke his head. Um, it was bad. They could have lived, but they killed him. They killed him. Um,
So
it,
they didn't shoot him. They actually beat him to
yeah, they
death.
beat him to death.
Wow.
And I know the whole thing is even in
Wow.
people can look it up on in the internet, the files, Sanchez versus forget what it is, but it talks about how what they did to him because they pursued it. You know, the family did,
Yeah.
and a certain cop that was part of that, he ended up committing suicide because he couldn't handle what took place. So all this affected a lot of people. You imagine
Yeah.
that how this from the gang.
Yeah.
I can hear how you said from the gang life affecting my homeboy, even affecting the cops. I think about all that, man.
Do you have any ill will towards law enforcement knowing that they beat your homeboy to death, which is a horrible way to go.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just being beat to death.
yeah, man. I did at once.
Really?
Yeah, even yeah, I did. I was mad. I was upset. I multiple times I told some of the cops what's up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Hey, I know what you guys did, and even when they will stop me or something, you know what, bro? You guys just kept on stepping because I know what you guys did. I'll bring
Yeah.
it up. I'll always bring it up.
Yeah.
And they'll leave me alone. I already knew I was gonna say something, like I was gonna shout out to the rooftops.
Yeah.
But I did. I had to let it go because they would eat me up.
Yeah.
But I did.
Wow.
I sure did, man. I don't know who would.
Yeah. Well, most definitely. You
Yeah.
know.
But that's the life. That's the barrio life. Barrio life is the life of I ain't going back to prison, shootouts, uh, life getting beat down. Like they go or we go. Um, that's the life, man. That's the life we chose. And I had to understand that too. You know what I mean? I just but it
And,
was on them though to be the laws to both be different, but maybe they were flying high on getting shot at too.
I asked you earlier, and once again, if you could go back in time, Jesse, if you could go back and you could talk to your younger self now, what would you tell yourself?
I don't know. it's hard to say I can go back, and if I can just do this different, I would change. But I just I didn't just see myself with any hope, man. I kind of think back. Maybe I could have said, could have stuck it out in something that I used to love was sports, like running.
Yeah.
Man, I should have stuck to that. I was good at it. I wanted to become an Olympic runner. I was really good at it, but my grades were always low, so I was never part of the team. But if I
Yeah.
could have just stayed there, maybe that would have gave me some sort of hope to stick it out. But because of the way I was, uh, there no, Vince, life came out the way it came out, man. And I was like, if I could have, but it just it came out the way it came out, man. I don't know if it makes sense.
No, it makes
It
perfect
came
sense.
out the way it came out.
It's
Like sometimes, what would you do if you went back? Maybe nothing.
keep everything the same.
Keep everything the same.
I've heard that before
Yeah,
too.
just it came out the way it came out.
Yeah.
I just couldn't change anything. I made my decisions, made my calls, said what I said, I meant what I did, and I'm here now.
That's right. Let me ask you, Jesse, where are you at today?
Life has taken me to a whole turn, man. When I was in Chino Hills, this chaplain kept talking about the Lord, man.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear about Jesus because I didn't see Jesus in my mom's life like the way I wanted to at that time when I was younger. My dad's.
Yeah.
But this guy, man, he just kept pressing it, and I've learned that when you press on somebody, eventually they'll give in just to shut you up.
Yeah.
And I remember this man, Chaplain Morales. Come on, Jesse. And it took several months. It wasn't like I was getting high in there. I was doing drug, acid, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, I said, okay, I'll go. I said, in my mind, shut this guy up, man.
Yeah.
I'll go. And I went to one of the chapels that he had, chapel service, and right there in the boys' placement. And I heard this young man talk about Jesus. Now, I heard people talk about Jesus, but not a young man.
Yeah.
Not someone that was around my age.
Yeah.
And he was all like, Jesus can change your life and save you. And I heard him out, and I looked him up, and I was like, yeah, okay. Went back to my cottage. Didn't think nothing of it. What do you think? I didn't say nothing. I said, I'll come back Sunday for you, man. And he got permission to take me out of the facility.
Yeah.
Well, he took me to his church. And he had the guys there, just certain individuals that were permitted to go out.
Yeah.
I don't remember the preaching, Vince. I don't remember the music. I don't remember much. But I remember going over there.
Yeah.
To the altar. I did go up there and I said, okay, let me see. I knelt down and I says, hey, God, if you're for reals, man, and if you're the God that everyone says you are, then change my life. Because if not, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Or kill somebody. And I said, oh, I'm going to end up in prison. Change me, man.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up on my knees and I had this supernatural experience. That's all I can call it. Something came upon me, man, that was different.
Yeah.
I felt something different. I used to love to cuss.
Yeah.
That very day, I stopped cussing, man.
Yeah.
Not all my bad habits left.
Yeah.
Because I believe God just meets you halfway and you got to step forward too,
Yeah.
He says, get close to me and I'll get closer to you.
Yeah.
So you got to take those steps. So he got close to me. He said, okay, I'll change you, knucklehead.
That's right.
And he changed me and I started smiling. And I was like, and one of the guys came up to me and said, I told you Jesus was real. And I looked at him like, yeah, okay. And I was like, what's going on with me, man?
Yeah.
I walked outside by myself and I looked, and the sky was blue. It's always been blue, man. But something seemed like it was beautiful. I looked at the
Yeah.
grass; it was green. I was always been green, but it was beautiful. Look at the flowers and looked at
Yeah.
the people. I get that verse now. I was once blind, but now seeing from that day forward, my whole life changed, and I just started. I just turned there. I was turned 18. I was turning 18, so a major part of my life decisions was in that part right there. And that guy Morales, so Chaplain Morales, is rest in peace now, man. He was like a father to me. He taught me how to read the Word. He taught me how to pray. He taught me how to preach, and I took that with me. I've never forgotten him to this day, man. He's a big part because he's a big part because I'm here, man.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen. God is good, huh?
Yeah.
You know, for those that know or don't know, myself, I'm also a believer, you know. And if there's one thing I could tell you guys, God is real. And He's an amazing God. And the love that God gives is like none other. God's love is able to turn a hardened heart that this man once had to being able to kill without a blink of an eye, to be able to doing the things that he's doing now. You're going to take us someplace right now, correct?
Yeah.
And where are we going?
We'll take you to
And let me ask you, before we do that, why are you crying, Jesse?
I just, you know, I appreciate that man, you know, that never gave up on me.
Amen.
Like I said, even that pastor said, hey, God can't even change you. So he gave up on me. But he didn't. You know,
Right.
Morales didn't. And that's why, you know, I believe God sent me back to this desert to clean up what I created. So zombie just resurrected, became a new person.
That's right.
But it just changed my whole life, man. I've never been the same since 18 to right now, man. I know people can guess how old I am, man, and I'll give you $100, but it's just been a long road. You know?
I'm proud of you, Jesse. I really am. Where are you taking us to right now?
You know, in this city, I have two sober homes. You know, sober living homes that I've had for years.
So you have two sober living homes?
Yeah, and I got another. I have a church out here also that I have two churches, one in India and one out here.
So you're a pastor?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been pastoring 25 years.
You've been a pastor for 25 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. You're a pastor who has two churches. He has two sober living homes. If that ain't God, I don't know what is. Let's go to your sober living home.
Let's go.
Okay, so right now, we just got to Pastor Jesse now. Pastor Jesse's sober living home. His first sober living home, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go inside. Take us in there, Pastor.
Yo, little rock, these guys.
That's right. Disciples in training.
Come on now. It's Victor. He's our home director.
How you doing, Victor? It's a pleasure meeting you, man. Vince, nice to meet you. Vince Romo. Oh, right on the Sousa. I'm from Pico.
The other valley.
Yeah, there we go. There you go, the other valley. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So this is
Pleasure meeting you.
No, the pleasure of ours.
Talk to us about the home, Vic.
How are you? The home, as a matter of fact, we got a new brother in today.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a place where people can come in.
There you go.
And get another chance.
Yeah.
You know, not everything works out the way we think.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just for drug addicts. It's for people that need help.
Yeah.
Redirection.
That's right.
And we're here to provide that. And it's through biblical studies, and we're attached to a church, and we get to be involved with things like this.
That's right.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Let's go inside and
Yes,
meet some of the fellas.
Yeah.
How long you been with me, Vic?
About 22, 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Years, yeah. What's
Wow.
up, man? Come on now.
How you fellas doing?
All right, man. It's Vince Romo.
How you doing, man? Vince, nice to meet you.
Jaime.
Jaime, nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you, Pedro. Vince.
Mike.
Mike, Vince.
Chris.
Chris, Vince, nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. So we're doing Pastor Jesse's life story. Let me ask you guys, how would you describe what kind of man is Pastor Jesse? Who wants to throw at that? Is that you, Vic? Is that what kind of man is Pastor Jesse? Passionate?
Compassionate?
Compassionate.
Man of God.
Man of God.
Compassionate man of God. Transparent.
Transparent. Right on. And I'm gonna guess you're the one that just landed here today. See? Okay, there we go. Don't worry, you'll get to know Pastor Jesse.
What's up? Come here, man. This guy, he's known me. How long you know me?
I'm gonna say 40 years. Back in the 80s.
I was a little kid.
Kids.
Really?
See me grow up. Yeah.
Wow. How would you describe Pastor?
Man of faith.
Man of faith.
Vision. Yeah.
Wow.
A man that he has a heart for people.
That's right.
Difficult people.
That's right.
Hard people to deal with.
That's what's up,
He has
man.
a heart for people.
Wow. That's what's up, man. I didn't get to catch your name. What is Rufino? Vince Romo, man. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Come on now.
How would you describe Pastor Jesse? Everyone has given their little bit of
A nice guy.
a what?
A nice guy.
A nice guy.
Yeah.
All right, nice guy. Well, let me tell you guys how amazing. You guys have already heard a lot of Jesse's story. Look at from where he came from where he's been, where he's going.
He's going, man.
Got 2 churches, 2 sober living homes, and look at all these men. Look at all these men. You know, God is real, man. God is real. Well, you already gave your word. Is there anything you want to say before we talk to me? Before we
Oh, no, man. Let's roll out and go see the future.
go see the future?
Yeah.
Wow, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys so very much. I wish you guys nothing but blessings, nothing but success. And I want you guys to know that anything is possible. You know, I came from the gutter as well, and you know what? Here we are. Amen.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Anything is possible with God. And so you know what? Have faith. You know what? Just trust in the good Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. Just like it says right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There you go. And all I've heard is nothing but good things about Pastor Jesse. You know, and so Pastor Jesse, I'm truly proud and truly honored to call you my brother, my friend. And this is Barrio Driven.
That's it.
So right now, we just arrived to Pastor Jesse's other church. You know, God has blessed you. We'll do a quick tour, you know what I'm saying? That way, but at least you guys get to see, talk to us, show us.
So this happened during COVID. There was no pastor here. Things were happening, so they asked me, "Hey, you want to take this?" And I said, "Yeah. You know, I'm always willing to take a challenge."
Amen.
And so I've kind of been here for like about, I want to say 4 years or so.
Really?
And just been working the land. So I took it because of all the craziness that took place in this desert hot springs.
Really?
And so I wanted to make a difference, man. So yeah, this is the sanctuary here. So yeah,
Beautiful.
this is it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, we got classrooms on the other side. And
Wow.
of course that fellowship hall and in reality there's 5 acres on the other side that people, you know.
Let's go to
Yeah.
That's beautiful right there.
Yeah.
So where do you preach on Sunday, here or the other church? Where do you?
No, I preach in the main church.
The main church.
The main campus in Indio.
Okay.
And so there's times I transmit my services here, or I come here once or twice a month,
Okay.
and then I what I do is rotate leaders that I've been raising to come here and preach, almost like a launching pad for them to learn. And so my wife, my daughter come play worship here also, and it's a launching pad. This is a place of training.
You know what's heavy? I feel God's presence here. I really do. As I came up, I felt the presence of the Lord here. I know that God is here.
God's here, man.
God is here. You know, if you're out in this area, please pay a visit to either one of these churches. It's an amazing man of God, and the things that God does,
is simply amazing.
It is. It sure is. I never thought.
That's right there, Hebrews 13:8. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, forevermore, and forever. Wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. God has been good to you. Been good. You know. What's the address to this church, so that for those that are watching in this area?
12901 West Drive. 12901 West Drive, Desert Hot Springs, California, 922. I believe it's 40. Yeah. So come on down. Got Sundays at 10:30. You don't want to miss it.
Come on down.
And if I'm not here, one of my main leaders right here, and it's always popping. And this is where we're all making a difference in this Hot Springs.
You are. You truly are. I've seen some, heard some amazing stories, but I'm really honored to be here with you because you really are making a difference.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Pastor Jesse.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
Love. Man. We all know about 1 Corinthians 13:4-8. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Does not dishonor one another. It's not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. Easily. It doesn't say you get it, just, It keeps no record of wrong. Somebody, hello. You gotta erase all them wrongs you got going on there. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. The way you feel sometimes, that's why you look for man's approval. But you can say, hey, God, look what we did together. Look what you've done in my life. Lord, look what you've done in our marriage. Come on. Look what you've done in our church. Look what you've done in our city. Come on, anywhere in the desert. Come on, praise him like you know that God has done something beautiful in your life. He's fired you up. There's a new anointing, a fresh anointing inside of you. Give him praise like you mean it. Come on, someone. Touch her, Lord. Touch her right there. Touch her right there. Touch her, Father. In the name of Jesus. Set her free now. Set her free now. Set her free now. Set her free now. Alex. Father, thank you for Alex. I pray for Alex right now. You know what's going on deep down in his heart more than anyone else. Father, just like you changed my life and you touched mine and you spoke to my life, speak to him. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Father.
So as you've seen, Jesse Sanchez is now Pastor Jesse. See, God still does miracles, familia. God is a miracle working God. This man that lived a violent lifestyle, this man that was incarcerated, this man that did all these things is a miracle. And so are you. Be blessed. Thank you for watching. God is still doing some amazing things. He's one of them. This is Barrio Driven. Thank you.